Hello, hello, hello. Welcome, welcome, welcome. So glad you're here. I am just about to get started here, just pulling people in, and I'm going to pin all these note takers. So confusing. I'm going to share my screen in a moment. And Dr. Trish, I thought that black cat on your shirt was a real cat for a minute. All righty. I am going to share my screen and we're going to dive on in. There we go. Thanks for being here. This is an occasional webinar free training. Let me share my screen and we will dive in. I was just talking to Willow on another call about the fact that the lines between AI and video are blurring. Let me click present on here. Sorry, my mouse isn't working. Can you believe it? What a time for your mouse to go dead. All right. Yeah, it's so funny because everything that I'm doing in video seems to come back to AI. And I don't know that there's any way to really avoid it. And I don't know that I even want to avoid it. The lines between AI and video continue to blur. It's almost as if you can't have one without the other these days. So I wanted to share a few things that we're working on the AI side of our business. I've been immersed in a very intensive AI certification training, which has been really cool. And I think we're about halfway through it. But I did want to talk a little bit about how you can actually use AI because I know it's, I don't know, buzzword. We hear about it constantly, can't really avoid it. But are we actually using it in our businesses day to day? What are the practical uses for AI that we can actually use every day to be useful? So until AI can do the dishes and the laundry, I don't know how useful it's going to be. But in terms of business, there's a lot that it can do. It's just every day, it's dizzying. The tools that come out, the possibilities that are happening, AI avatars, which I have always been dead set against. I'm starting to soften my stance on that because I think we're not going to be able to avoid it. So this is the real me, though. I'm pinching myself, me in the flesh. So this is not the AI version of me. All right, I'm going to go on here and show you how a few entrepreneurs, myself included, are actually using this stuff to try to make it useful on a day-to-day level. Go back here. So I know the thing is, I feel like I've been working longer instead of shorter because of AI at the moment. And I know a lot of folks are in the same boat in terms of banging away, grinding away, just trying to stay afloat. I know the coaching side of my business has been down a little bit. And I feel like I'm working more to achieve less. And maybe you guys are with me on that. I don't know. But 73% of small business owners say that they're working longer hours for the same results. The good news is if we're using AI correctly, a lot of businesses are seeing productivity increases and revenue growth. So again, I like to look at it in terms of, I don't care about all the fancy buzzwords and vibe coding and agentic AI. I just want to know, how can I use this to save me time and effort so that I can not be at my computer 12 hours a day? So I don't know. Yes, people are producing marketing videos in 15 minutes. I don't know the last time anybody spent $15,000 on a video, but so they say. Email, you can improve your email open rates, which have been dismal lately. You can create apps, and I'll show you how I did that, like literally in minutes. And you can create more content, hopefully in less time. And just in terms of total transparency, this is a preview of all the different AI mini courses that I'm creating to do all this stuff, from video creation to software to emails to whatever else we might be doing. Because again, I'm trying to say, what are the issues? What are the problems that we're having as business owners? And what can AI do that can actually make that better? So I know some folks are saying that they're capturing value much faster than predicted, although a lot of businesses, 77%, feel like they're being left behind. So I got these things these stats from Notebook LM. I didn't really pull them out of thin air. And I think a lot of folks are all also feeling, oh my God, this train has left the station. Have I missed the boat or train? And you have not. We're just at the very beginning of all this. And the potential is enormous. Again, especially on things like design, logos, things like that, much, much faster. AI bots and things like that. If you're not around, you can have an AI bot help answer questions for your clients and things like that. So the thing is, it's not too late to jump into all this, but you do have to be aware of what's happening and figure out, how can this actually help me? Do I take the old slow route and take a whole bunch of courses? Or can I skip all that stuff and just go to the tools that work now and work right away that help your business? So things like writing emails or creating campaigns. So a lot of AI advice is a little bit over our heads, and some of it's just ridiculously complicated. I spent a couple of hours on a platform the other day that I was trying to build software that would upload videos automatically to YouTube. And it's complicated. It doesn't have to be, though. So if you find the right tool and the right processes, it really can be a beneficial system. In the AI Quick Wins course that I do, we've got 10 different courses and 10 different tools. And again, I've only done 3 of the mini lessons out of 10 so far. So it's coming along, but it's not complete. But what I did with these 10 different lessons, I had one for video creation and one for PowerPoint creation and one for emails and all courses on all these different things that we deal with every day, and try to find the 1 or 2 tools in that category that can really make a huge difference. For instance, I spend a lot of time making PowerPoint presentations and creating webinars, and I used Gamma, an app called Gamma. You can see it up here, gamma.app, to create these slides and to basically do the presentation for me. I dropped in some copy and the AI picked out all the images and all that fun stuff. So it really can be useful if you're doing the right thing here. Let me just go back here for a second. I skipped out of my presentation by accident. All right, I'm going to zip down to where we were. This is where we were. Sorry about that. So the other thing that I thought was interesting in doing the research for this is that there are early adopters, there are what they call fast followers, there are late adopters, and then there are deniers. It's like, that's the people like, I don't care about AI. It's not real. It's going away. But I think most of us are probably in the early adopters or fast followers group. So we may be at the point where we have experimented with AI tools, but we haven't really systematized them. So again, this is really about trying to find tools that you can use without pulling your hair out, without having to take a whole used course on it. And that's what we're trying to do. I'm going to skip to the next part of the presentation here and give you a little bit of a preview of some of the things we can do with this lovely system here. Let me just pull up my Google here for a moment. All right. So that's the wrong one. Sorry about that. Shared the same one as before. Hang on a moment. And I will come back in a second. Here we go. All righty. I'm going to go back to Gamma. Sorry, I had all these pulled up before, but somehow they got reorganized or disorganized. All right, I'm going to share my screen. Okay, back to Zoom and back to share screen. Sorry about the glitch. So this is Gamma, and this is a tool that will create PowerPoint presentations for you, and it will also create websites for you. So if you signed up for this webinar, you were on a page that was created by Gamma. And what you can do, I'll give you a little sample here, is you can go to create new in Gamma. There is a free version. I was using it so much that I ultimately had to get the paid version, but you can see some of the things that I've created recently. And you can either paste in text, what I usually do, you can prompt it, or you can import existing documents and presentations if you want to fancy them up with AI. So in this case, I'll show you what I did here. I took a whole bunch of text that I had about this course, and I dumped all the text into Gamma. I'm still letting people into the room, believe it or not. And then I can pick, do I want minimal text? Do I want concise text, or I want detailed text? And then I can pick a theme. I'm going to stick with this theme here. and I'm going to click generate. It will tell you down here how many cards it's going to make. And again, you can do this for presentations or for websites. So if I click generate, you're going to see, like magic, hopefully you can see my screen, how quickly Gamma will turn all that text into slides. Okay, so this is my PowerPoint coming together just like that. Now it's based on my content and my text, but you can see how quickly it's picking the slides, which is nuts. And it's just creating cards or slides for each section. So I'm literally creating a PowerPoint and a presentation based on the text that I dumped into Gamma. And you can see that it's still going. It's going to make, over here on the left, I can see it's made 9 slides. It's going to make 12 altogether. And then we'll go back to it and show you what it made. So that's pretty cool. Now, if you don't like this theme or template, you can change it here. So this is the presentation that it just created based on my text. I can go to themes here and change the theme, make it dark, make it light, make it whatever. I can share it or I can present it. So this is Gamma. I'm going to present it and it's going to show you it picked the photos. Sometimes the text is a little bit off, but it basically picked the photos. If I wanted to go back in here to Gamma and say, exit the presentation and say, I can go into the Gamma here, if my mouse would work, and I can say, exit the presentation. And then I can go up to this AI here and say, make it shorter, make it longer, simplify the language, be more specific. So I can literally talk with the PowerPoint or collaborate with the PowerPoint here and the Gamma and have it change things. So if I can say use photos with more mature people. I don't know what that means, but we're going to see what it does. So now it is taking that and it's changing the photos based on the prompt that I just gave it. So what it's doing is, because I didn't like the photos the first time, it's choosing all new photos. Now, some of them are cartoonish, which I don't love. Basically, my problem with this was like, okay, it was all young people. I want some people my age in there. So it changed the photos to more older, mature, which I think is cool. Now, the only thing is some of them are cartoony and some of them are photorealistic, but it's pretty damn good considering that it was just from a prompt. While we're here, I'm going to tell you a little bit about this program that I did. So what I did with Gamma and with all these things was I created 10 mini courses based on particular problems that people may have. And I've created a handful of them so far, but you can buy the entire bundle or you can buy them one at a time. So like the first one that I just finished last week was on camera confidence. So it's a 20 or 30 minute presentation about camera confidence. And then it shows you the specific tools that I recommend to create your videos. And I have a video script generator that I created with another AI that's part of this. So for each one of these sort of problems, this one's about creating an app without coding that I did with Lovable. This one's about video editing with Descript. This is the one I'm working on now. And I basically show you how to cut your time way, way down so that you can edit videos much more quickly and much more painlessly. Then I have one about emails, which I honestly haven't finished yet, but I'm working on that. I have to go in here and check because it's not going to be 100 templates. It's going to be like 20. So it may not be quite right. You have to go back in and make sure everything's accurate. But still, I have one on creating websites and presentations with Gamma and ChatGPT. And you saw how quick it was to create that this presentation in Gamma, which I did in real time. I've got them on podcast production, videos, book writing, presentations, and graphics. So all of those, they're all about a half hour each. They all have demos of the particular tools, and each one of them is available individually for $67 or all together for $497. So that's what I created. And I used AI to help create both the course and to create the actual demos and presentations. So in other words, if I go back to Gamma, I have a presentation for each and every one of those modules or chapters, if you will. Like this one's on podcast production, this one's on design, And I was able to create those really quickly because I already had the content, and I put the content into Gamma and then just put it in, let Gamma do its thing. The other thing that was nice was because these were all separate presentations, but all part of the same series, is I could keep the theme the same so that for each one of the presentations, like this one's on book writing, I could make them all look pretty much the same. Depending on where you're struggling, maybe you're struggling with email, maybe you're trying to get a book out there, maybe you're trying to do a podcast. I've got stuff for each and every one of those based on this. Now, they're not all recorded yet, but they will be pretty soon. The other thing that I did, this particular one on book writing, I know can be done because I did my AI Quick Wins book on which this full content came from. I did it in just a couple days using AI and a few other tools that I talk about in here. So if you want to unmute and tell me what resonates with you, what are you struggling with when it comes to AI, we can look at specific tools such as Gamma, which I use to create all these lovely presentations. I can't remember what the Pro was, but I'll see if I can see it here, how much that one was. But you can see I've got all my presentations here in Gamma. And if I want to do a website instead of a presentation, I can do that as well in Gamma. So in this case, I created this website in Gamma, and I did the same thing. I used the same content. So I have each one of the sort of mini courses here, but when I publish it, it will publish as a website. So when I pull up the link for this, and now that it's published, I can view the website, and you can see if you I set up a domain here called aiquickwins.me. So Gamma created this website based on the copy that I gave it. I can go in here and change the images if I want. And it gave me like a description for each one of the mini courses or lessons: video editing, email marketing, website creation using Gamma. And I could pick the theme and it was ready to go. So the only thing I had to do here was put in the links. So in other words, if you go to hang on a second, I got to let somebody else in here, get all 10 solutions, that links to that shopping cart. So the website, to create the website, was really quick and painless. I just had to set up a specific link. So in other words, if somebody goes to the one about video editing and clicks on this link, that will go to that shopping cart page. And the shopping cart is in Go High Level, so it has nothing to do with this stuff. But this is the website that I created with Gamma in just a couple minutes. I had to go in and clean up a few things and make sure that it was like accurate and make sure it wasn't promising something that I couldn't deliver on. But it took all my content and turned it into a lovely little website, just like that. So you can do websites or presentations, so you have some flexibility in there, and Gamma does the rest. So that's the main tool that I wanted to talk about, was Gamma, but there are certainly others. If anybody has any particular issues that they're struggling with when it comes to AI or how to use in a practical way. Hi.
Hi. I had 2 questions, and thank you for presenting this. What AI do you like best to help with writing?
Well, that's a great question.
And is there also going to be a recording of this? Because I jumped on, but I know that I can't stay, and I'm really interested in seeing what you are going to have for us and when you think you'll be complete with these. I'm also interested in the one that is the script for sure.
Oh, great. Okay.
So is that completed?
Yes. Yep. So I've done the first one, which is, I can't remember, On-Camera Confidence. I've done the second one, which is creating apps without coding. I've done the third one, which is really about video editing into script. And I've done the 8th one, which is on book writing. So I'm basically starting to crank these out, and you can buy any of them now. They're just not all quite finished yet.
No,
So
I need to get the one that was finished. So the script is finished, the camera confidence, and did you say the second one was that you'd finished?
second one was about creating apps without coding.
Apps without coding.
which is fun. Like you can create quizzes and things like that. But to your question about
Writing, yes.
writing, I started with ChatGPT, and I just want to make sure that, and then I was getting frustrated because I had a lot of content. I put a lot of content into ChatGPT and said, can you help me with an outline? Can you help me with chapters and things like that? And the problem with ChatGPT is even though I gave it a ton of text, it wasn't understanding word counts. Like I said, I wanted every chapter to be 5,000 words, and I'd get 800 words. I'd say, try again. And then I get 1,200 words, and I'd try again. So I finally jumped over to Claude, and Claude not only, I think, wrote better and pulled my information better, but it also understood that, hey, can you go into my text that I gave you and expand this to be more like 4,000 or 5,000 pages? So I did the whole thing with Claude. And again, I had to go in and check things, like it made stuff up here and there. So I had obviously double check it. And then I had to go into the text and personalize things here and there. But when I was done with that, I used another app called Velum. This one's not free and it's not really cheap. It's like $249 for unlimited eBooks and paperbacks. But what it did do was, rather than have to find or hire a designer, was it formatted the entire book. And I can pick the style and I can pick the layout and things like that. And what Velum was great at was creating the books and also creating them so that you could actually upload it to Amazon, which was I wanted to make sure I could get it on Kindle on Amazon. So then what happened was I got this lovely book onto Kindle, an audiobook, and paperback. And I did it with KDP, which is Kindle Direct Publishing. And again, most of the stuff, if I look at this, I personalized it, but a lot of it was generated initially by Claude. Let me see if I can see it.
And how did you do the audio?
That was the really amazing part. And let me go to a different screen here for this part and see if I can find it. This is why I keep a million tabs open. When I finished the Kindle version, it actually, Amazon KDP asked me if I wanted to do an audio version. Now I can't, I mentioned this to Willow earlier, but Amazon won't take a voice clone of you yet. And I know folks who have hired voice artists. I know folks who have gone into the studio to read their own book. But what happened when I uploaded the Kindle was Amazon said, do you want to use one of our voices to narrate the book? And I was like, sure, why not? So that was free and it was almost instantaneous.
Narrated with
Are
virtual
you kidding?
computer-generated narration for audiobooks. The AI Quick Wins Playbook by Lou Bortone.
So it did that for me,
Right.
the entire book. So that way now I can go into the audiobook. And again, it's not my voice. I would prefer that, but I didn't want to sit here and read 20,000 words and it wouldn't let me do it via a clone. I just let this go. And again, 2.5 hour audio, if you listen just to the audio. The other cool thing is they have about a dozen or so voices, so you can choose the virtual voice who does your audiobook.
That is helpful, but the writing I was talking about was like if you needed to do sales page writing or writing a script when you're trying to do your courses and you're
Right.
and you want it to be more lively and not things like that. Then also if you're having to do marketing writing, like a overview of your product to share with people and things like that kind of writing, that it just seems to take me so many hours, even though I know what I want to say, and then it sounds too bland.
Again,
But you've also motivated me to do a book.
So with Claude, I also use it for sales pages and emails. So one of the things I might do is, because the more you use this, the more it knows your voice and your tone and your style. When I put the book in here, after I was done with the book, I'm like, okay, now I've got all this content. And I would say, please create a shorter version of this email with less hype and promises, more casual tone in my voice and style. What I found was it was coming up with all these kind of hypey, over the top kind of things. So I had to basically tell Claude to tone it down. But by the time I was done with a few revisions, it would say, okay, here's what I did. I created a shorter version. I reduced the hype language. We softened the promises. We made it 150 words. So I'm using this not just for the book stuff, but also for emails, sales pages. So before I even go to Gamma to create a sales page, I'm creating the copy inside of Claude for the most part. And again, it's like a collaboration or a conversation. So you may have to go back in and say, this needs to be much shorter because it gave me like way too much stuff. It's almost like it really wants to please you so much that it's giving you too much. But the nice thing is I'm not starting with a blank slate anymore. Whether I'm
You
doing,
upload your whole book then in these things. I don't mean to sound
yeah, that's okay.
ignorant, but
What I did was you could upload everything, but I tried to do it chapter by chapter because it wouldn't, that way Claude wouldn't get too overwhelmed. So I had, in this case, this is another book that I'm working on, and I had a lot of content. Like, it was making stuff up. It was like, do not fabricate any of the content. It says, I apologize. I should only use the content you've written. So I had stories and stuff that I gave to Claude chapter by chapter. And then I said, this book is about leadership lessons of the Godfather, believe it or not. So I said, I want to start every chapter with an actual gangster story. And Claude helped me with the research. So, okay, instead of going to Google and having to do all this information on Lucky Luciano, it gave me all this information about him that I can use in the book. Now, again, I may go in here and personalize it, or I may change it a little bit more. I could say, this guy came to America in 1912. That's the same year that my grandfather came. So anyway, I did it chapter by chapter. And then when it was done, I would just copy it and then bring it into a Google Doc. So it was all in one place.
Yeah, that more than answers it. Thank you. And I'm glad to hear that your thing is finished with this script. And I guess we'll be updating that, right? Once we bought it.
I'm going to probably have to, because every day there's new tools and new developments. And even with the Descript course, because I have that one 90% done, but I have to go back to Descript and make sure that they didn't change the whole interface today and that it looks the same. So it's a little hard to keep up with because it's changing so quickly, but that's why I'm doing these as mini lessons, because I can just go back to that particular lesson and update it and clean it up.
So once we bought it, it will stay current. Thank you so much.
No problem. Anything else? Any other questions or thoughts in terms of the software? Again, for the writing, I'm using Claude. For the video editing, I'm using Descript. I showed here, like, this is a Descript where I'm creating a podcast, and I'm taking that podcast into Descript and I'm making like square versions or portrait versions. I'm adding captions. So I have a whole demo on Descript. And even this one, I have to do a couple of different things because the interface changes so often. So last time I did a Descript course, there was no AI speakers. There was no AI video maker. All the stuff is new, and I'm just trying to update it as quickly as I can.
Hey, this is Vicky.
Hi.
For a Gamma website, how do you host that? Do you have to have a domain name, or you connect it with a subdomain, or what do you do?
Gamma hosts it. So the actual website is here, and then it says view site. What I did was I got this domain and I redirected the Gamma to this site. So this one.
Okay.
But that's an interesting thing because, again, I think what happened was I was using the free version and then I hit a wall and it wouldn't do anything else. So I had to go back in and bite the bullet and get the paid version. But the nice thing is, if I had tried to do this sales page or this website in WordPress or Lead Pages, it would have taken a really long time. And all I did was I took the information from the course and put it into Gamma and told Gamma to turn it into a sales page, which it did. And I think—
But you had to have a domain for it to be redirected to a domain name.
Yeah, otherwise it would have looked really clunky. So again, if you go in here and look at some of the ones that I have that I don't think I have a domain name for, So it's hosted here, gamma.app.docs.Bortone. So that's such a long, ugly URL that I'll just redirect it to this one. And this one was like, I put a PDF into it. And other than adding a couple of the pictures myself, it did the whole thing. It knows that I rescue pugs. It knows that I know a lot of bad words in Italian. And so it's scary because it'll take what you give it and expand upon it. And you just have to make sure that it's correct. And this stuff is all hack. I just had to go and make sure that it wasn't making stuff up, because occasionally it will do that.
That's great. And by the way, I read your book last night.
Oh,
It was really good. So helpful. And I love the way it just divided it up. So it was easy to read. I started to highlight stuff, and then I thought, oh no, I can't highlight the whole book.
yeah, thanks. I wanted to make it relatively short, so it's 20,000 words. And
Yeah.
I get a lot of Claude helped with a lot of it, but I had to put my own stamp on it and go back in and change the tone a little bit and things like that. But again, with a few adjustments, I'm not starting from a blank page. I've got content there, and then I just have to rearrange it. Dr. Sunny, did you have a question? Please feel free to unmute.
Hi.
Hi.
I wanted to know, did you have other options besides a website? And what are the benefits of using a website for your courses?
I could make, again, remember if there are other things besides. Yeah, it'll say you can make a presentation, a web page, a document, or social post, which honestly, I've never even tried yet. And you can start with a prompt, which is good. And then you can decide. A card is like a slide. So if I know I want a brief website or a small page, I'll just do fewer cards. And if I want a longer one, I can add the cards. And then, so again, if I just went from one of the ones that were generic prompts like this one, how to brew a perfect cup of espresso. So I can say, let me do social post for that instead of a web page. And I just generate the outline. And then I just have to pick a theme or a template. This is fascinating. So it's a lot of slides for how to make a cup of coffee. But the nice thing is I can say, all right, I want this to be a minimal, and I want to use different visual. So I can look, and I tried to use sort of the same ones over and over, but it'll give you a quick look at what that looks like. So it can be light or dark or this or that. So if I did this kind of thing, and then I just said select theme and then generate, it's going to go ahead and create social posts about making the perfect cup of espresso based on the information here. And you can see it like, oh my God, it's really going quickly. And honestly, I think the only difference between this and a website is the size, because it would do the same thing if it was a website. But you can see it adding photos automatically, talking about temperature. I don't know what all this means, but it's fascinating. And the AI has gotten a lot better about words inside of graphics as well, because those were notoriously bad, but they seem to be pretty good in this particular one. So I suppose I can take this and turn it into some kind of a social media, or I can adapt it. But it gave me those slides, which again, I can move around if I don't like the order. And I could have just as easily done a website with this as a social post. And the reason that I would do this as a web page, or any of these as a web page in Gamma, honestly, is just the speed and the fact that I can get a page up in a couple of hours instead of a day. That makes sense, Dr. Sunny?
Yes, I do have Gamma app, but I haven't tried it out this way, and I'll have to play with it.
Yeah, I've really been doing quite a lot with it. And the fact that you can generate things just from prompts, or I can say, well, I've got an older PowerPoint or something like that. Maybe I want to bring that in and refresh it and give it a different look. So that's, again, another reason why I was able to create the course content so quickly was I used Gamma for the PowerPoints or for the presentations. And it'll tell you, if I put exact copy in here, it can use your exact copy, or it can take stuff that you give it and make it shorter or more concise. So it'll say condense if I want it to be shorter. You can also say who the audience is and what you might want the tone to be. So oftentimes I'll say, make it fun and quirky or whatever. So it'll be a little bit more in my style. But again, all the stuff is already there. So then it's just a matter of, okay, make a web page out of this or make a whatever out of this, make a presentation out of it. So I've found that this just saves me a ton of time whether I'm making a web page or a presentation. Because now I can go back in and say, for each one of these lessons, I created a presentation. And again, I had to give it some content. I didn't really start with blank in this particular case, but I could also make all the lessons fairly consistent style-wise because I can go in and choose the same template. So now what I have to do now that I've created these presentations, like for the podcast one, for example, is I have to actually go on Zoom and record this. And I haven't edited this one yet, but I might change the photos. So I record this, and then at the end of this, I go and do a separate recording for what I use to create podcasts. And in this case, again, I go back to Descript here, and I show you how to use Descript to create a podcast. So now I have to just actually go in here and actually record them, and then we'll be almost done. But yeah, that's pretty much it. So Gamma is as flexible as you want. It'll give as much detail as you want. It'll reduce or cut things down. In some cases, I just had like tons and tons of text here, and I'd go in and go back to Gamma and say, please make this bullet point or make it shorter or make it punchier or whatever. And you can see, again, it reacts pretty quickly, like you saw when I changed all the photos to people instead. Otherwise, it's going to just pull in, this is what it starts with. And I might say, okay, this font's way too big or whatever, but I can go in and reduce the size, or I can just tell the AI to reduce the size of the font. So you're going back and forth with it.
I have a quick question.
Yes, please.
On Gamma, you get a series of cards that are strung together as a single page website. Is that how it works?
Yes, if you output it as a website, it will do that.
So you get and you can tell it how many cards you want it to make.
Yeah.
What about, there's two other things. What about email? If you want to collect their email, is there a way to do that?
Yes. I just have to, yeah. What I did in this case, like this was an opt-in page.
Okay.
So it's only a couple of cards, not too detailed, but wherever it says, yes, I want this, I would have to, where did I even go? I would have to find like the button here. I put in a button, and then I'd have to make this go to the actual, I don't know where it goes, to be honest with you, but let's see. I can't remember. Yeah, so this goes to a second page where you have a couple of choices here. So if you say, get my AI bundle, it goes to an opt-in page. Now, this particular opt-in page is on my CRM. It's on Go High Level. So like anything with Gamma, you have to link those buttons back to wherever you want to send it. So in that case, too many tabs.
I get it. Yeah.
Yep.
Whatever you're using for your email program. And then what about, did you say that you redirect to Gamma because the Gamma link is so long?
Yeah. So the Gamma
okay.
link is really long. So in this case, I went to GoDaddy and got aiquickwins.me because that was what was available. And I had this, whenever somebody goes to this long, ugly link, take them to, or whenever somebody puts aiquickwins.me, they'll come back to this site.
I got it. Okay. So you redirect from GoDaddy to Gamma.
Yep.
And then you redirect from Gamma to your CRM.
Yes. Or
Okay.
in this case, because it's a sales page, the button goes to a link. It goes to my shopping cart.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
And what do you use for that? Is that Go High Level also? Okay.
So when I'm on this actual page here, I'm saving it again, and I view the site, it's really like each one of these is a card, but it looks like a seamless website because it's all presented together like this. And for each one of these modules, so to speak, I just had to link to that shopping cart. It goes right, this is Go High Level. So it's just a matter of linking the Gamma to either the cart or the opt-in or wherever you might want to send it. So in this case, the other thing about Go High Level that's neat is that like Amazon, it'll also say, oh, while you're here, do you also want any of these guys? So that's all done on the back end of Go High Level.
Okay.
But again, to be able to start with this and just say, oh, cool. Now if I had tried to do this in lead pages, which is what I used to use, it would have taken significantly longer. But again, I had to go back in here and make sure, okay, let's see what the AI came up with and is it accurate? And in most cases, it was pretty accurate because I had started with, it only had the information that I put into it. Deborah, did you have
For
a
what it's
question?
worth, I
Yeah,
just
go ahead.
want to say I loved your screw you video at Christmas time. Your angry elf. I'm not using Lou Pages anymore.
Yeah, I got,
Great.
yeah, it's like these software better not cross me or I will put in my elf costume and go on a rant. Thank you. Deborah,
Thanks, Lou. This is excellent. Velum is only for Mac. Is that true?
I believe so. There may be alternative for PC. I'm just not aware of. But yeah, but I'm on a Mac, so I put everything in here and it was easy because it put in the chapters and then you can say, oh, add an about the author, add a introduction, add a this or add a that. So you build it in Velum and then you choose the style that you want and you can see what it's going to look like on Kindle or print or whatever. And then I did the whole thing before I bought it. And then there's a button up here that says generate, but before you buy it, it'll say, sorry, you got to buy the software if you want to generate the files.
Sure.
So for me, it was okay because I'm on a Mac. I don't know if I would imagine that there's some kind of a PC equivalent.
Or presumably I could put it on my iPad, yeah?
Oh,
Yeah.
yeah. So you can do either eBooks or eBooks and paperbacks. And the nice thing is when I click generate, Velum said, okay, do you want a Kindle version? Yes, I want a Kindle version. Yes, I want a Google version. Yes, I want a print version. So I could upload each one of those files to wherever they needed to go. And because Amazon KDP is pretty particular about how you upload stuff to them.
I understand. And this went through a painful process. Don't anybody use Fiverr. The second question is, what can we upload our logo in a Gamma so that when it makes a slide presentation, our logo is on the slide?
Yes. Yep. So I don't know. I think I did that in a couple of cases here. Let me just go back to Gamma. Yeah. So what I did was initially it put in a generic image here. So anytime you have an image, you can go here and edit it and say, replace the image or find an image from Unsplash. In this case, I already had this graphic created in Canva. So I just had to replace the photo that they had with the one that I wanted, which is here.
Okay.
And the same thing, it'll put a generic picture here. So this was something that we created in Canva, I think. I can't even remember, but it was a generic photo. And then I just said, please use, I uploaded our little cartoon photo here. Yes. And I apparently, which I forgot about, you can also link your calendar because in this case, this goes to Don's Calendly. That's nice that you can integrate stuff to make it more useful.
Very helpful. Thank you so much.
No problem. And again, I can collaborate with Dawn. We're working together on a lot of this stuff. So she has a Gamma as well. So we can go back and forth and work and collaborate on the document. But the main thing is you have to make sure that when they click a button, you have to tell the button where to go. And in this case, it goes to my Go High Level page.
Yeah, one last thing. I'm always think, oh, confuse not mine, never buys, don't give people choices. And yet there's feeling inside of me that says, I'd like to give people this menu, right? For $8 and for $140, $197, and for $9,000, whatever. And you're seeming to be doing that in your slide presentation. Okay, solve this problem, $97. Solve that problem, $280. And then the bundles, whatever the price, the gross price is. Have you experience with this and how's it working?
It's too soon to tell, honestly, because I just started this last week.
Okay.
A couple of folks have just bought the bundle, even though they know it's not totally ready. It's almost like, okay, you can pre-order it. And then as soon as it's done, I'll send everything. But one of the things that I think is going to be interesting about this is because I've got 10 different modules. I'm like, oh my God, this was way too ambitious. But if I find that everybody's going to, oh, I sold 10 module 3s and only one module 4, I can know like, all right, maybe I should focus more on the video editing because that seems to be more popular.
That's good.
Yeah. But it was like one of those things was, oh, I just did this website in 20 minutes on Gamma. Maybe I should do a module about that so I could show people how Gamma does.
Sweet. Thank you.
I don't know. Honestly, I don't know if it's going to be like, oh my God, this is way too overwhelming. I don't know what I need. And they go away. Or if people find a specific module or problem that they want. So here, like I have to go back in here and say, I don't know where it got this. Michael R. didn't actually say this. So I'll go in and delete that just because sometimes it makes stuff up and I didn't catch that one. Like, I don't want fake quotes and things like that because, like, I have to take all the quotes. So I can just go into Gamma and say, remove all quotes and testimonials, and then I can clean it up. This might be no, this is the actual page right now, so I have to go in and fix that, which is sometimes when the problem with going too fast is don't catch all that stuff. Any other questions before we wrap up? Dr. Trish, sorry, I didn't see you earlier. Yep.
Yeah. I've already got my book, Defer Agreements, uploaded in ChatGPT, and I've got a great relationship with him. But then I saw the social media post with this. Would it be better to try to put it in Gamma since it just does that so quick, or stick with what I know?
If you're making are you doing just social media posts for it?
No, I've been using it for everything.
Yeah, I
Bundle
mean,
thing.
I always start with ChatGPT or Claude, which is the two that I use, and I get all the content and writing on that part, and then I'll either go to Gamma if I want to do a presentation. I might go to Canva if I want to do a social post, just because Canva is another one that is adding a lot of AI features. So now I can go in and say, and put the copy into Canva and say, make a Facebook post.
Oh, haven't tried Canva yet. I've got it. I've just used it. But okay, so
I mean, you could do either way. This does it for you as well, but I'm just so used to, like, for social posts and things like that, I'm used to using Canva. Just like the same for like video editing. I always seem to find my way back to Descript because that's what I use. And the other thing on Descript was, like I said, okay, I wonder if I can put this, I wanted to see if I could do it in my voice. I have my voice in Canva.
Not literally, but I've lived through enough technological revolutions in my career from Hollywood to the digital marketing world to recognize the pattern.
So that's my AI voice in Descript. Now, the problem is if I tried to put that on Kindle and they recognized it as an AI voice, they wouldn't accept it.
Yeah.
But I thought I'm still going to try to see, and I don't think they do such a great job. This is just a photo that Descript turned into an AI, which I don't want to, so I may not use it.
Right? And it's helped hundreds of others.
But the voice isn't too bad. And you train that Descript, it's pretty easy to give it your voice. You just go into AI speakers and then record a quick little paragraph, and that's how it captures your voice. So I was trying to put I kept trying to make my voice sound different, and it's still trying to bring it back to my voice. So even though I tried to do like one in a heavy New Jersey accent, it didn't quite work. So I'll have to ask one of my New Jersey friends to help me with that. Hey, how you doing? Yeah, I tried to do that, and it kept trying to correct it. I'm like, no, I meant to say use. But anyway, it's just funny the things you can and can't do with the AI. If there are any other questions, let me know. Otherwise, you can start to get all the lovely AI Quick Wins stuff at aiquickwins.me.
Lou, I had another question, but I saw
sure.
that Doug Nodlin has a question, so I think her hand was up before me.
I'm sorry, I didn't see all the hands, but go ahead, Doug, and then I'm trying to find my way back to Zoom here so I can share my screen. Lynn and Doug, did you have a question?
Run you, Doug.
Okay.
There we go, Lynn.
I wanted to clarify what you just said. If you put something in and you use your AI voice, you can't put that into Kindle.
Not if it's an AI voice. Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know how Kindle detects that. Maybe they have software. So if I went into a studio and I recorded my actual voice and I narrated everything, then that would be fine. If I try to give them that AI voice I just made, they would probably reject it.
Okay. And two other quick questions. One is anything where, like Suno, you can have them do the whole song with voice, but can you do anything that you would be able to sing in music background?
Wow, that's a great question. I don't know off the top of my head. I know with Suno.com, which you can make all kinds of cool music with.
Yeah.
You can put in your own, pull it up, lyrics, but I don't know that you can actually sing or upload an actual song in there or not. I've used it a lot for podcast intros and things like that, but I have not put my own voice in there.
Okay. And where do you if you do a podcast, like your audio or video,
I do both audio and video, the podcast, because when I go into Descript, so this is a podcast I produced for my colleague, Lori Richardson. I can bring in her audio, and if she doesn't have video, I can just do a graphic like this. So that way I can still put this on YouTube, even though it's really just audio. Oops, I opened the wrong one. Come on.
then you put them on YouTube, but do you house them any other place like Vimeo?
I put it on YouTube, and then I upload the audio to Spotify, which is what I use to host my podcast. And then the nice thing about that is when I put a podcast on Spotify, Spotify sends it to Apple and Google and all the other places. Let me see if I log in here. So I upload the audio, and actually Spotify takes video as well. So I can upload the audio or the video. It's not letting me in though. So
Do you do your video on Descript? Awesome.
yes,
Great.
no problem. So yeah, I basically produce everything in Descript. So if I'm doing this podcast, I'll create a short portrait version for YouTube Shorts and then upload that to YouTube Shorts. And in this case, I also do a square version with captions, and I use that one for LinkedIn because I find that a better format for LinkedIn. A lot of people watch with the sound off. So I just took the same podcast and then took a clip of it and made it into a square version on Descript. So this way, even though this is primarily an audio podcast, I create video versions that she can use to promote the podcast and drive people back to her page. But yes, it's on YouTube as well.
Then you get the transcription to fall on the podcast. And
Yeah, if you go inside of Descript, my mouse is not cooperating here, but you can export just the transcript. So it'll give you the full transcript, and it's usually pretty accurate. The other thing I can do in Descript is I can go in here and say, make a YouTube description or make show notes. And I just click on show notes and click submit. And then over here on the right, it's got the entire automatically generated show notes.
Neat.
Yep. I'm able to do the whole podcast, show notes, clips, all kinds of stuff within this one Descript app. So I know we've jumped around a lot. We've talked about a lot of tools, but if you have any questions, let me know or shoot me an email. And since it's the top of the hour, we'll wrap things up here.
Can I just ask one last question, Lou?
Absolutely.
It's about Gamma. It's amazing how all the things it does. I'm curious though, can you export what it did? Suppose I've just invested in a website thing that I'm going to be using, but I could see the speed that the Gamma can do it with to do those. Could you get it to do your sections or like how it did the other things for your presentations? But if you're more comfortable presenting, let's say in Canva or PowerPoint, could you export it or?
Yeah. So for instance, if I go back to this.
And is this the free version you're showing us?
This version of Gamma is the paid version because I have so many presentations. I don't know what the free I think free limits you to 10 cards or slides.
Okay, but is it cheap as chips? Is it a good price?
I believe so. I can't recall. I think it's $25 a month.
Okay, that's not bad for.
Again, I created the entire course series here. I've got a whole bunch of other things that I've created. So at some point I said, I'm not going to be able to get away with the free version anymore. I'm going to have to bite the bullet. But to your other question, again, if I go to any one of these.
I'm just seeing you, by the way. As gorgeous as you are.
Oh, hang on a second. Sorry about that. I thought I was sharing my screen.
All good.
There we go. What I meant to say was when you go here under publish, it's publish to domain. So that's what I did here because I had AIQuickWins.me. And if you go to share, you can export it as Zoom's blocking my view again. Share and export. So I can export it to a PDF, or like you say, if you're more comfortable in Google Slides or PowerPoint, you can send it back there as well. And this is apparently new, but I guess I can post this directly to LinkedIn, which I have not tried yet.
Conceivably, you could use it to create your website just to go faster. Because you know how we just get caught in the weeds and there for, especially when you work on your own in a room by yourself. And just, I guess if you export it in PDF, you just need a way to, PDF makes sense.
Yeah.
And what do you use when you're doing your videos if you want a teleprompter? I just was curious what you.
Yep. I use a software called Prompts. And I don't use Teleprompter that often, but I can put the Prompt Smart on my desktop or on a separate screen, like an iPad or something. And the nice thing about Prompt Smart is it's voice activated. So if I slow down, the text slows down. I know back in the day with TV, it's like the teleprompter had one speed. And if you fell behind, it was too slow, you'd have to wait for it. So Prompt Smart is voice activated. So if I stop, the text will stop moving. And I can make the letters really big because my eyes are going bad. So
But you need another thing to watch it on. If you're doing your face to camera videos, recording your course, but you just, until you get more comfortable doing it, if you were just using a laptop, would you be able to just use a teleprompter?
I think you can. I believe so. I think you can run it just right off the laptop. So if you have a camera on top of your camera on your laptop, you're looking at the camera, but you're seeing the text. I have an actual teleprompter called a Slide Gear, which is, honestly, I use it more as a monitor than for the teleprompter, but once in a while I use the teleprompter function. So I have my iPad sitting on the Slide Gear teleprompter, and then it's got one of those mirrors so it reflects and I can see the words scrolling on screen.
I might Google that.
Yeah, I have way too much stuff, but I do use that slide. There's also
You used
another
to do
company.
these weekly things telling us all these like gnarly things that you were using. I really miss that.
I may go back to that. I do that for my member folks, but at this point, I think I'm going to go back.
You just know so much and there's so much out there and you just come the learning curve. And I
Trying to
just wanted
curate
to
it.
be really sweet to someone in the group that kept putting in this question, but they never came on to ask it. They kept asking what AI tool would you recommend for faceless YouTube videos. They asked it a few times.
Oh, sorry about that.
But it's just in the group. Yeah, they didn't get on. So I just wanted to highlight that for
Thank you.
them. I felt so bad for them.
So I
Thank
will
you.
answer that for the recording and to them. If it's like just text on the slide, faceless camera, I would still use Descript. If it's more, okay, I want my bot or my AI clone, and I haven't used this extensively, but HeyGen, HeyGen is really the industry standard for making spokespeople or clones or something like that. So I can create a character on that and on HeyGen, and I can use that for my videos on YouTube, although I have not really done that yet. But thank you for pointing that out because for some reason I did not see the questions because the chat was hidden. All right, we're going to wrap it up, I think. And thank you so much for being here. I'll get a recording out to you if you missed anything. And I know I went off script and I went off slides and just going crazy with tools, but hopefully you'll be able to sort it out in the recording. Thanks so much, and we'll talk to you soon. Have a good weekend. Bye-bye.